Welcome back. Well, when it comes to Moscow's plans to strengthen military ties with Indonesia, we're seeing both Russian propaganda and Albanese's spin. Russia has accused Australia of a scare campaign, with its ambassador to Indonesia asking why we'd be concerned over their relationship, suggesting that Canberra's national interests cannot extend to the territory of neighbouring sovereign states that pursue active and independent policies. But meanwhile, Albanese is still trying to lie over Russia's increasing military ties with Jakarta.
Do you know if Moscow made an approach to Indonesia? And do you now concede that Russia wants a bigger presence in our region?
I have no wish to help promote Russia's propaganda messages, and I'd suggest that that's not in Australia's national interest either.
I think the Prime Minister, again, has sort of ducked and weaved on this question today. The government's language keeps changing, which just seems strange, and we have asked for a briefing. It's still not forthcoming from the government, so what do they have to hide? I just wish this Prime Minister could be open and honest with the Australian people, and he hasn't been in relation to this issue.
An Australian Strategic Policy Institute senior analyst, Malcolm Davis, joins us now. Malcolm, thanks for your time. Look, of course Australia has a right to be concerned and to know what Russia's plans are for our region. Nothing could be more important. But we keep seeing the Prime Minister trying to deflect. He just won't answer the question. What do you think about this?
Look, I do think we need to take this issue very seriously. It is very clear to most of the strategic policy community here in Australia and overseas that Russia and China are working together, are coordinating their actions to challenge not just the US, but US allies, including Australia, and to assert their position across the Indo-Pacific. And this latest is development in terms of Russia probably making a formal request to the Indonesian government to host Russian bombers or long-range maritime patrol aircraft at Biak Island. Indonesia has declared that it won't accept that, but the request has probably gone through. This latest development is part of that strategic coordination between Beijing and Moscow that is designed to challenge our interests and our security. And it is incumbent upon any government, whether it's the Labor government that comes out after May 3rd or a Liberal National Coalition government, to take this seriously. And that requires increasing defence spending rather significantly.
There's also growing concern that America is potentially not funding the Pacific enough, that this is leaving a power vacuum. Now, this has been a concern for over a decade, that the United States isn't giving quite enough funding to the Pacific and Beijing is filling the shoes. But of course, we are seeing these criticisms become more public now that Donald Trump is in charge, but it has been an issue for a long time that Australia has been begging whichever US administration is in power to increase its funding in the Pacific. Again, this is essential. This is our region. This is not just about Australia, but about United States strategic interests to hold back China's expansion.
Exactly. And what we're talking about here is soft power, the ability of Australia, Japan and others alongside the United States to work together to try and prevent China from expanding its influence and its presence in the Indo-Pacific region, including very close to Australia. And part of the problem here is that as liberal democracies, we have to follow international law when we engage in soft power and diplomacy. Chinese, as an authoritarian state, do not. They can come into these small Southwest Pacific states with literally suitcases of cash to give to local politicians and engage in elite capture. They also undertake the Belt and Road Initiative development, which basically forces these small states to become dependent on Beijing. So we are facing a challenge here in the sense that we have to observe the rules. They do not, and so they have an advantage against us.
Indeed. All right, Malcolm Davis, really